Welcome to Kickstarter Radio 102.4. I'm your host, Lipstickpaddy, and today we're finally looking at Lands of Evershade. Done all my research, baby. And I'll tell you now, if I've got negatives, don't worry, we're all in the same boat, and we're all hoping and pushing all these things for the product. The product is the number one thing, and any negatives I throw are trying to help the project get a better product out of it. It does look like it is in the early days of production as well, and everything I'm saying is to help the project and not to turn you off backing the game, because the game is looking fantastic, but I do have some worries, concerns, and of course some critique to get started with. So let's get on with it, shall we? Yes, I'm Lipstickpaddy. This is my Kickstarter show. Check out my channel, of course, and think about subscribing. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up so it gets more attention to YouTube, that people like watching me. Anyhow. What? 323? Oi! What do we not need in here? Notebook. You might think we don't need metal coins. You probably do. Deluxe dice, of course. And Waken Realms doing an absolute bonkers with their dice sets. I'm telling you, they are almost making them Premier League dice, of course, with their minis as well. Of course, you can get creatures here. There is, if you go just for the box standees, if that's your cup of tea. But of course, just look at all these boxes. This thing isn't going to be small. And it has a hint of Tainted Grail all over this, probably because they're using the same font on the box. I don't know, something very Tainted Grail about it. Anyhow. So yeah, this is going to be an epic box when it arrives. The new adventures are kind of side stories. You could get rid of them and just go for the normal box. We'll see how much that is, but 325 is an absolute stinger, isn't it? Maybe. We've had a lot of time looking at this. Maybe you've been saving up for it. Now, I will tell you straight out the bat that if you watch any playthrough, you don't see the setup, number one. Right? You don't see everybody sat around the table and setting up their board. Everything is set up on the playthroughs. And it still takes 1 hour to get to the combat. It is insanely long. And before I harp on this more, I just want to say that they're using their own proprietary, bespoke app like they use with Tainted Grail, and it is suffering because it is not best in class. They should go to foreteller, because yes, you have it narrated, but the narrator is fine. But if they're in a tavern, you should hear the sound of the tavern around you. That's what foreteller gives you. When they go to the well and they're going down the well and a big burly man talks to them, you don't want the narrator saying the voice of a burly man. Foreteller has a team of actors that do this for you, so the immersion is incredible. If they go to the market, you should hear people around you in the bustling market. It pulls you in with immersion. All the foreteller apps that do this do it exceptionally well. And if you're spending so much time listening to it, you want best in class. And it feels like a downgrade. Just look at the voice acting from any of the incredible foreteller app games. We're talking Madara, Vampire Masquerade, Gloomhaven, Isofarian Guard. And that's just the ones I'm looking at my shelf that I have. And it's got amazing foreteller. And I'm sorry, but Tainted Grail, as good as the app is, it pales in comparison to these, and foreteller is the only way forward for a Premier League campaign. And the proprietary bloody voice acting that they've done already, please, by all means, use the narrator, but just throw that to the foreteller team and tell them to do the rest. Because, heck, if you're paying $300 for this campaign game, holy smoke, foreteller should be on it. I don't care If it costs more money to the developer, you owe it to your players that if you think that this is an incredible campaign, you give it the foreteller love instead of doing this voice-acted narrator and just music in the background does not cut it anymore. I'm sorry, but it is a big, big red flag for me. You need to just drop it and go to foreteller. It is as simple as that. You need to pull people into the narrative. You can't just listen to a narrator for an hour. You know, it's stop and start, it's choose your own adventure, it's blah, 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 blah. I'm not going to say any more about that. You know my feelings, and let's hope that they can surprise us during the campaign. Because the game looks like it's years away. Yep, this is an early... this is an early production. I'm going to say that. I don't have faith in the time schedules at all. It is hugely ambitious. And I guess for that we are kind of liking it. Now, this is my second problem, and it's the inherent pages with the dial down the middle. It is so liberating just to get rid of it. Because on the left, you've got the world map. Here, the chase, you're in the caverns. On the right, you're in the throne room. But the fact that they're bringing this to one page is so limiting, claustrophobic. It's making every location a square. Yes, there are things in the room you can interact with. But for example, how easy is it to stop an archer when he's a couple of squares away from you? It's like range attacks don't even count in this because it's so claustrophobic. Get rid of the center, pull it to the side, have a double size page, and maybe put more around it to make it bigger. I've just got Title Blades, which is the pinnacle of doing a campaign with sheets. It is insane what they've done with that game. It is incredible. And putting this bar down the center inherently breaks any giant room you could make. It really does. It's saying we need to focus on these squares and make one place a square. Well, I'll tell you, when you're in the throne room, the chase world map on the left is irrelevant. You're in the throne room. Just push that to the side. Make the throne room bigger. Why is all the rooms in this game a square? Okay, we can see up here. One is slightly off a square, but it's boxed in. It is boxed in. It is insanely boxed in. And when you play Title Blades, it's so, I don't know, it's so unbelievably large, the environments in that game, because you're adding sheets to the sheets. Right? I mean, I don't know. I would change this. 100%. The dial down the center looks cute, but just put it to the side. Are you kidding me? Put it to the side. All right. The boards look great. They look big, don't they? Yeah, you've got your action cards and stuff, and they got no art on them. Whatever. They're using these small cards to put in your deck here. So be it. We can't have everything. This game's going a different direction. We just have to accept that. It would have been so nice to have those ability cards with some kind of art on them. But I don't need to see any more on that. It's fairly easy. The Journey to Whitewell. Ashes of Heaven, Song of Lueda. Yeah, lots coming in it. Very exciting. The Reclaimed item set. All looks fantastic, doesn't it? Let's roll, because this is a big one. Now, this is far more, like, better, isn't it? We don't 79. Hey, 79 with all the story. Who cares if it's just standees? We can get the whole thing for 79. Holy shit, pardon my French. That 323. Yeah. I mean, we'll look at these special editions. If they are worth $50 on top for these 3 extra boxes. I mean, come on. Did it say what these are here? The special edition. It's gonna. I don't know why they do this kind of thing. Can they not just show this better? Anyway, you're getting quality models then. You're getting a hardcover book. You've really got to pull this out. Dual layer board thingies. Boxes instead of Ziploc bags. Premium bag. Right, so it's basically the pimped out box. All right, you're going to have minis for you, but standees for the enemies. I think this is a better compromise instead of this humongous load here. It really is. But if you're okay with standee heaven, zip lock bags, go for it. 79. You do get both dual layer board with both though, so it's not so bad. Is it just going for the cheap? You do get the full story though. You're not getting laid back. Now it is weird that this handbook, it says, is part of the special edition, but it's not part of the oopsie daisy. It's not part of the cheapo edition. Is that cheapo edition? Why can't they just print that for both? Anyhow. So this is the core adventure, and they're saying that these extra boxes are this extra. Is that not confusing? We'll see this when we go down. As you can see, a square room, page on the left, irrelevant while you're in this fight. There's the standard 1 layer edition. I think this is potentially the book that you want to get, isn't it? The coloured book. First time in a board game, enjoy 200 colour pages of lore, character creation options, advancements, and more. I guess. I'm thinking about that, actually. Yeah, because I've got the role-playing game of Tidal Blades and the Hexit book, which is beautifully illustrated. That is campaign mode only, but you design your own character outside that. So yeah, self-contained within here. I think other games have done it. I think the Hexploric book, the Hexploric campaign books are beautiful. It is the most amazing book, the Hexploric books for the campaigns. Oh, it's dream-like. But it's, it's going that way, and it is good for it. Now, I did a video before this, which was talking about that I'm getting a bit worried coming in. It was basically about this board, but I've definitely softened away from it because it's something you don't really... when you're spending an hour listening to the story, this thing, it gets less and less. You know, the times you're actually going to this and using it are much less than other games. So it's more of an aside. And this is what I mean by it being early. They're still doing things and making it boring. You know, a +2 sword, that's like Dungeons and Dragons 1979. Like, can we not advance on the sword? Is there no swords with names? Is there no special things here? This is all generic as possible. You know, the amulet of protection, that is so generic. The sorcerer's grimoire, so generic. Sandals not even matching the artwork. So really, they need to do a massive design pass over all the objects, because it stinks. It just stinks of simplicity, and it's not satisfying to be wearing all this uncommon gear. You know, are you a hero, or are you just a person who's walking through the town because everyone's got this stuff? Now, you'll notice the combat system. The square is even on the combat cards. And, you know, it just grains on me, this square. The liberation of the big area. Come on, what's going on? It's like claustrophobically putting you in a square to create a puzzle. Yeah, you know, you've got the bottom ones here that you've got to unlock as you develop your character, but there's no sense of immersion here, you know. No picture of a slash attack, no picture of a dodge, limited endurance, you know. It's, you know, when you come from a role play, you're bringing a lot of black and white words across that realm, right? And it's coming into board games. But the fact that they've got the doll system here for putting the armor on, that is coming from video games. And if you're pulling in from these medias to design this project, why the hell have you left this without some kind of art in the background? I know the writing is, you know, the most important thing is the writing, but you could simply just put that at the bottom and have a better image there. It would look way much better. I don't know, maybe they're going for this colour scheme. They just want it to have this bone colour off with a white marble across that. I mean, it is what it is, but I always prefer art over text, and it does seem to be a lot of space on the cards. So we're doing 5 player boards. You make them different by plugging in your colours and obviously your person that goes in there. But can we not just make these boards a little bit different? I don't know. I guess it's just cheaper to bang them out like that, but I would have preferred if there was some kind of vine growing up each one and maybe had a different colour flower on each of them just to give them a little bit pizzazz, because it really is getting a little bit dull, the boards. And, you know, Awakened Realms should be all about art and, you know, are they climbing down on it? I mean, look at that. A smash attack requires a hammer. Do the picture. Make a herbal dressing. You know, that looks like you're healing somebody's wound. Just get pictures on this stuff. I don't know why that sandal's really annoying me. It really is. All tokens to make your character stronger. Yeah. When you see all this, it just makes the Hexplore It Dry Racer board the ultimate character creator and level upper. Because you're basically doing the same here, but you're just writing it on your board. Whereas here, it's fiddly with all these bits. You know, because in roleplay, you're rubbing something out and you're adding a new modifier. Here, you've got to pull from this and plug it into your playboard. But the great thing with Hexplore It is you just write on the dry eraser board. Or in fact, if you're doing a campaign, it is a sheet of paper that you just write in. And it's kind of nice to have that because it's coming from roleplay. You understand pen and paper. And here, they're like, no, if we have to get away from pen and paper, we are giving them little bits of tokens that they have to put in their board. Yeah, I mean, they've just pulled it away from pen and paper there, unfortunately. Alright, so I've seen enough. I prefer to go special edition. It's the $50 extra, but you do get more minis and you get a premium feel to it. And I think the only thing I'd add on then is potentially coins and dice. On the left here, I'd love it to show me where I am on the page because I just want to get to the add-ons now. We know these pictures are all renders. These are not printed out. So it is what it is. Characters and all that look interesting, certainly worthy to play, right? The Traveller's Cloak. Yeah, so interesting fantasy that they've got, and you can see all the enemy types that are coming through, and you probably might prefer these minis over standees. Well, that's going to, you have to pay extra for that, of course. And it's going to look busy on that square that you're attacking. I do like the camp sheet, of course. This is something that I had great fun with Arkees, the campsite, upgrading it. This is just like what Arkees did. Fantastic. It is uncanny how similar it is to Arkees. Anyhow. So there you go. 45 hours. Now, it's following the Dungeons and Dragons book where it's levels 1 to 10. Most players only get to level 5 in D&D and then quit. So this would be interesting to see how far you can go with it. But it does kind of level you fast here. It says 3 chapters, 3 to 5 hours each. Ouch. 1 is 5 hours. Oh my god. So potentially it's 1 hour socializing around the place and then 1 hour gameplay. How are you getting 5 hour session in this game? Holy smoke. In Lands of Evershade, you craft your saga. Instead of playing a single, long co-op campaign, the game offers multiple, highly replayable adventures, divided into 3 difficulty tiers. What they should be saying is, don't worry that a chapter is 5 hours long. A chapter has a few episodes in them. That would scare 99% of my player friends if I said, do you want to come and play a 5-hour game? And they'd say, is it Christmas time? New Year? Or your birthday? I think 3 hours max is probably the most, unless you're really close to winning. And isn't it funny? The Bear Peak is the same size as the warehouse, and the same size as the streets of Night Bloom Crossing. So you can see the art is at work here. Finally, we get to see some art on cards down here. And the exquisite regalia. So yeah, a lot of it is potentially going to take ages to make. Here we are. You go, want to argue, retail 79, deluxe 119. Just remember, tax is not on this. So I guess this Legends of Higher Realm pledge in the USA with tax is a $500. Are you in it? Are you in it? Right, so this one's interesting. It's like a... is this gameplay all in? No. It's a special edition box with acrylics and creatures. No coins? Would I prefer coins or acrylic? Oh, come on. Coins! You're just going to plug these in your board. No biggie. God damn it. Yeah, they've been locking everything, of course. It's going to be bananas. Everyone's jumping on this. No one's really giving any critique, unfortunately. But it's just like any other D&D. You know, if you're enjoying it, you want to do the side stories and all that good stuff. So this is all great. The app, like I said, needs to be upgraded. These are fairly expensive. So this is a book, is it? Another 100-page storybook. This is super early. And look, in this expansion, all of the places are in a square. Now, obviously, this is really annoying me, this square thing. It's because I've just been spoiled rotten with Title Blades 2. And looking at this square system is jarring. It really is. Is this another 100-page? So it's not just a side story. I mean, this is an epic book here, part of the Lands of Evershade system. And I'm guessing if they're setting this up as their own, I want to say D&D world, then potentially in the future you can get these adventure boxes that give you more interesting stories and things like that. So yeah, I'd be definitely interested in those boxes. And yes, I'd want metal coins, and if I want minis and I want my sleeves and I want the dice, the only thing I don't want is the notebook. But I bet if you add this up, the notebook comes free. So I'll be sitting at this big pledge. Well, as you can see, there is still an epic ton of work to be done. Right? You can bet your bottom dollar that this campaign was done to fund a couple of more years of development. That's what I feel. It needs to kind of update all of the items in the. I'd love to see art on the ability cards. I'd love the player boards to have a little bit more art on them to differentiate them. Maybe a vine, like I said, with a flower. The bespoke in-house app for voices needs to go to Foreteller. It just pales me. It shocks me that you've not done this, when clearly Foreteller is a class above, and it will put your game in this epic list of great narrative board games. And when you're not on that list with Foreteller, people won't see you. When you go to Foreteller and you see these great narration games, it's like a genre in itself, the Foreteller games, and it's great to collect these if you love that narrative, super immersive story. And if you've not got it for Lands of Evershade, just like Tainted Grail, it's forgotten in this list of epic campaigns because it's not Foreteller assisted. And the biggest jarring thing for me is the square combat, when you could just put those tiles together and create something bigger. You can't honestly make me feel like every place can fit on that square. You are sapping the immersion from me, and it's clearly a game mechanic to fight within a square. And for me, that's a red flag in itself. Like it's like I said, I've just been playing Tidal Blades 2. It's an epic, looks epic on the table, huge arenas, and it's a campaign game with obviously RPG, upgrading your character, using the cipher system. It's fantastic. And when I see this, it's a little bit, oh, they did that. Now, so like I said, I think it's got a good 2 years before it goes anywhere, and hopefully it will address these grave concerns. But for me, I am not backing this project. There's just too much here for me to just trust it. You know, I'll watch it I'll watch all Awakened Realms games when they're in production. And if I see good changes and these red flags get removed, then maybe I'll late back. Because this is going to be late pledge for years. You know, they've got not just the campaign, not just the advanced campaign and the advanced campaign on that to level 9+. They've also got those 2 additional books to develop. That's going to take ages. We're talking miniatures for all of that. So, for me, fingers crossed it gets to a better place. It feels really early. And that's another worry. You know, I just got Freedom 5 this week, and I'm still waiting on the additional stuff. It's a 2-wave thingy. And that took an epic amount of time. Ambitious, yeah. And Lands of Evershade, the first real RPG narrative-focused campaign from Awakened Realms, you might argue with not a lot of experience doing this, but it's gonna be late. You know, if you told me Freedom 5 would take 5 years, would I have backed it? You know, if it said, you know, you're backing this in 2024, but it's not coming to 2029, if it said that, you'd just say, oh, just late pledge it nearer the time. That's what you'd say. Freedom 5, by the way, is just amazing. I think everyone's going to be talking about that next year in 2025. Title Blades 2 and Freedom 5 are going to be like the hot retail games next year. It really is. So there we go, Lands of Evershade. It needs to do more for me. My concerns have only grown after watching playthroughs. And god damn it, how did they go this direction? And I wish they turn ship and address these concerns. Because, you know, at the end of the day, I've got AAA fantastic campaign games. Tidal Blades 2, Icefarian Guard, Vampire the Masquerade, Frosthaven, Gloomhaven. I mean, it's definitely, what I would say, a different system that I'm not happy with. And maybe when I see it late, you know, in a year's time on where the development is, maybe I'll warm better to it. But as it is, like I said, it needs to cook more, and hopefully in the early design phase where it is, it can kind of look at these other games and see why they are so incredible, and where the bar is. And Lands of Evershade needs to get where that bar is, because it's not there yet. Fancy miniatures aside, everything else needs addressing. Everything. So on that bombshell, thank you so much for watching. I'm your host, Lipstickpaddy. You take care, stay safe, and bye-bye for now.